Hello and welcome to Computers and Courses on YouTube and subnetting.us on the World Wide Web. And today we're going to take a look at a couple of things on a switch here. We're going to take a look at the show version command, and we're also going to do a write erase on this switch and see that we haven't really deleted our VLAN information. So here at the switch command line interface, and I just want to do a show VLAN command just to let you know that we do have VLAN information in here. And I'm just going to quit out of here, and I'm going to reload this, and I'm going to confirm, and we're going to see that reload reason was the reload command, and it's just going to take a couple of seconds for this to start the reload. And I'm going to catch up with you guys on the decompression side of things, but it looks like it's already come up here. So we have a switch, a C2950 bootloader, and this is a 2950 switch, and we see the compile date, and we see that this is our iOS version. And if we sort of go back up here, we're seeing that our Flash version is being decompressed, and every time I click in there it decides to change. So we've restarted the switch, and it's initialized, and it's telling us how much bytes of flash we have. And it's done initializing the flash, the boot sector file system, and the parameter blocks, and a lot of stuff that I don't use on a daily basis, but here we go. And again, memory type of flash is for the iOS, uncompressed and installed, and it gives a memory entry point. Then some Cisco legal jargon, thank you. And we have, we're working with the iOS software. And this is our version number. We're going to take a look at the show version command. We're going to see a lot of this stuff again. It's a little bit summarized, some of the information that we're going to see. And again, we have some information about ROM memory, read-only memory, and it goes through a post power on self-test, and all this is passed. Our front-end loopback test is passed, Ethernet controllers have passed, system board has passed, so that's all good news. And we have some more information from Cisco, thank you very much. We also see that we have a hardware information about our processor board, and our last reset from a system reset, and we're running a standard image, and we have a 24 port switch with 2 gigabit Ethernet switches, so FA fast Ethernet, FA01 through FA024, and 2 gigabit switches, or switch ports. And here we have 32 kilobytes of flash simulated non-volatile configuration memory, that's NVRAM. And this is the memory where your running configuration is going to be. And that running configuration is the configuration where the commands that you enter at the command line interface are stored. And this is where also the startup configuration is stored. So, excuse me, I got that backwards there for a second. The flash NVRAM is where the startup configuration is stored, and the running configuration, which is stored in RAM, needs to be copied over there. So, the configuration doesn't have to be re-entered every time the router or switch is started. And we have more hardware information here. We have power supply part numbers, motherboard's serial numbers, power supply serial numbers, and so on. And we have a model number. Again, we're working on a 2950 switch, and press return to get started. So we're going to press return, and we're at the switch name. Okay, so the switch is started, and we are at user exec mode, and we can find or determine that we're at this user exec mode, where we can just issue some basic commands and do very little as far as changing things. But the giveaway here is that there is this right angle bracket, or a chevron, whatever you like to call it, and we need to we can actually do our show version command here, and if I just type in sh abbreviated for show, and then hit the tab button, it'll autocomplete show, and if I put a question mark after that, I can get a list of commands. I'm going to type Q just to quit out of that, but show version. If you see what I'm doing here, I put a question mark after the letter V, so I can't do an autocomplete with a tab here. I just get the bell. So I need to add a little bit more, and I can get a show version command out of this. So I type in a show version however I like to, as you saw just a moment ago, and you see that we're working with the Cisco Internetwork Operating System, the iOS. And again, I have a description of what type of equipment I'm working on, the 2950 switch, and our version of software, which is, this is going to relate to the flash that you see down here, and the version is 12.1.22 EA14. And if you go to cisco.com, you can go ahead and find out if there are software version updates for your switcher router. And Cisco again gives us some more information about their technical support, copyrights, when this was compiled, image base, and ROM, like we saw before, the bootstrap program. ROM is one type of memory. It's a read-only memory, and this bootstrap program is essentially what starts up the router. And this switch has been up for 8 minutes. We just restarted it, and it was returned to ROM by a power on. And the system image file is Flash. Again, Flash is the iOS. And now we have some general legal information from Cisco. Again, thank you, Cisco. And a summary of the laws, and if you require further assistance, you can contact them. Then we have some processor information, hardware information, more hardware information, information about the last reset from a system reset. We're running a standard image. And again, more hardware information, so we know what we're actually working with. 24 port switch, that is also 2 additional gigabit switches. We have 32K of flash simulated NVRAM, and again, just wanted to point out that this is where the startup configuration file was stored. So when you do a copy run start, copy running config, startup config, this is where this gets stored. And we have base Ethernet MAC address, motherboard assembly number, and other hardware information here. Not too concerned with the hardware information right now. And our configuration register. This again is something that you're definitely going to want to see in this switch or router if you need to go ahead and reset a password. And I'm just going to move over to a router, because you're also going to see this information on a router, and I don't have it in the console port, so let's put it in the console port. And we don't want to go ahead and do our initial configuration. I'm just going to pause this for a second while I get to where I want to be. Okay, so sorry for the delay, but we're back here, and now we're on a router, and this is a 2600 series router, and we're going to issue the show version command. And again, we have the Cisco iOS software, Internetwork Operating System software 2600, and then it gives some version information. And again, all this great Cisco info, ROM. This has the read-only memory, system bootstrap loader, and it tells us about uptime, that it's been returned to ROM by power on, that again this has a flash, the iOS is flash, so the system image file is flash. Don't want to get flash and NVRAM mixed up. It's, at least for me, that was a easy thing to get confused. And we're going to go ahead and take a look down here. This is, again, is a Cisco 2621 XM router, and we see that it has 127K of memory, and we have more hardware information. And on this router we have one Ethernet interface, two fast Ethernet interfaces, two serial interfaces, and one VPN module. So we have a little bit of stuff on here. We have 32K of NVRAM and 32,768 of system flash. So the NVRAM, the non-volatile RAM, this again is where the startup config is going to be stored, and the flash is the iOS. Our configuration register is set at 2102, and this is what essentially allows us to say, oh, let's go ahead and boot from the system flash. If you were going to go ahead and reset a password, this system, this configuration register, this would change. This is where you would usually do a control break at the beginning on a router, or if it's a switch, you may need to go ahead and hold in the mode button as the switch itself is turning on. I'm going to head back over to the router. I'm sorry, back over to the switch. We're back on the switch. We're going to go into enable mode. I just wanted to show you that still we have the VLAN information. So we're going to do a show VLAN. I'm going to quit out of here. I'm going to issue a write erase. We're going to erase the NVRAM, which is the startup config. So I'm going to confirm this. And we're just going to pause this as I just reload the system here. Alright, we have the system reloading. Again, I'll be back in a second. Okay, for the reload that we just did, we're dropped into the initial configuration dialog box. We're going to enter a no here, press return to get started. We are at just a blank switch. If we do show running configuration, we get nothing because we're at the wrong prompt. If we do show run here, we build the configuration, and there's nothing on any of these switch ports. However, if we do a show VLAN, we still have our VLAN 10, 20, and 30. Although the ports have been removed, they're still in there. So what we need to do is a delete, and we're going to do delete flash VLAN dot dat. We're going to confirm yes. We're going to do a reload, and I'm just going to pause until we get back. Alright, and I've reloaded the switch and issued the show VLAN command, and as we see, we only have our default VLAN 1. Thank you!